For all of you who want to break the vicious cycle of parenting used by all the generations that came before you. For you who are brave enough to decide that this cycle ends with you. Acknowledge this epic battle that you're fighting right now. You're taking this enormous challenge of giving something to your child that was never given to you as a child. There are 5 steps to this process. And number 5, make sure you stick around until the end, because number 5 is so crucial to us parents. And it's something that we must remind ourselves every single day in order to be that calm parent, to be that optimal parent to our kids. So let's jump right in. So how can we define a cycle breaker? Does it mean doing the complete opposite of what our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents did? Does it mean going from east to west? Absolutely not. You are a cycle breaker every time you do something differently that impacts your child positively. And even when you don't do something different, but you go back and you repair with your child. And repair is actually a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. And I talk about it on a video linked up here somewhere on the screen. So if you'd like to go check it out, please do so. And repair is making a mistake with your child, acknowledging that you made a mistake, and going back and talking to your kid about it. Something that I'm pretty sure most of us didn't get from our own parents, and our parents probably didn't get from their parents, and so on and so forth. So this is how the cycle breaks. When you decide to say no to parenting through fear or force. When you don't parent your child through control and fear and threats, that's when you know that you're doing something different. When your kid is having a hard time, let's say, and you redefine the meaning of discipline and you use it as a teaching opportunity to your child rather than some harsh punishment. So what are the steps to becoming a cycle breaker? Number 1, recognize that your childhood and how you were raised, the way you were raised, does not dictate or determine how you're supposed to parent your child today. Just the fact that you're watching this video right now and that you are aware of your actions and the consequences of your actions, and you are attempting to do things differently, that right there is the very first step to becoming a cycle breaker. You have the power to determine and decide, take ownership of that, how to parent your child in a more positive way today. And realize what works, what doesn't work for you and your child. You are no longer the child in the family. You are the parent, the grown-up with a child. And right now you have the opportunity of a lifetime to right whatever wrongs you may have faced in the past or you may have experienced in the past. Number 2, don't neglect your own needs. What do I mean by that? Take care of yourself too. Because what I see the most happening nowadays among parents, me included, we are so concerned of taking care of everybody else in the family except for us, for ourselves. We oftentimes just completely forget that we have needs too, that if we don't have our cup filled up, there's no way that we can pour out from an empty cup. I don't mean just the part where you eat healthy, sleep better, or exercise every day, which, is also just as important. I'm talking about mentally, spiritually. Feed your mind and soul with things that will make you evolve as a parent, as a wife, as a husband, as a person. Take time in silence to emotionally recharge. Do at least one thing that brings you joy and happiness every day. Because when we neglect our own needs, how do we show up? We show up as the angry mom, the stressed dad, the depleted husband, and that reflects on our interactions with our kids. We are impatient, we're short fused, we'll yell more, we'll be less empathetic to our kids' needs. That's what happens when we come from a place of scarcity. That's why it's so crucial that we remind ourselves every day the tremendous importance of taking care of our needs as well as our families, of course, but not to forget ourselves in that moment. Number 3, acknowledge that it is your job to be the calm one in the relationship. It's not your child's primary job to be the calm one because they're still learning. They're still very young and they still have a lot to go through, a lot to experience in life. Of course, you're going to still set boundaries when needed. You're going to continue providing them with the necessary tools onto how to regulate their own emotions. But if we can't set a good example to our kids on how to regulate emotions, it's going to be very hard for them to learn how to regulate their own emotions like that. If we're constantly not taking responsibility for our own mistakes, transferring blame to our kids all the time whenever we make a mistake, we should stop right there and reflect and turn that experience into a reminder to ourselves that we can change this. We can do things differently if we choose to. And yes, I understand that there will be times that we're going to fall off the wagon and then go back to old patterns that are hard to shake off. And on top of that, we're dealing with the stress of life and work in general. But that doesn't mean that you didn't break the cycle, because you have decided to break the cycle. You are conscious about your decision and you are doing everything you can with the resources that you have to continuously break the cycle. So just keep telling yourself, repair with yourself first, like I talked in the previous video about repair, and just keep telling yourself, yes, the yelling happened. I lost my cool again, but I can still end the story differently. I can go back and repair with my child. I can own up to my mistakes. I can add reconnection and empathy in that moment that my kid felt alone and sad and scared. It's not the end. I have not traumatized my kid for life. Number 4, set firm boundaries with kindness and respect, not as a form of punishment. Setting boundaries and limits with our kids doesn't mean like we're a strict parent or we're inflexible. You can still reinforce boundaries all the while being respectful and kind to your child. If we fear our kids' strong reaction to us setting a boundary, we actually end up going the opposite direction. And then we end up becoming permissive parents, walking on eggshells around our kids, trying to do everything to not trigger their anger, to not trigger a tantrum, to not upset them in any way. And the consequence to that kind of permissive parenting is having to deal with a lot of issues as they get older, as they go into adolescence and adult life. So finding a middle ground that works both for you and your kid creates a more harmonious and healthier household interaction relationship with your kids and your family. Number 5, this is a very important one. Understand and accept that you can't control your kids' feelings and reactions. I know it's very easy to fall into that trap of trying to control our kids' intense feelings and reactions and wanting to shut it down as quickly as possible, wanting to fix it, wanting to make them feel better in any way we can. And sometimes we even end up giving in because of all the screaming and crying that's just driving us nuts. But we must understand that this is a natural process for them to go through. And what they're experiencing is all normal. It's not anything out of the ordinary. It's what kids do. Doesn't mean that we're going to let them be aggressive or, do things that they're not supposed to. That's not it. I'm talking about emotionally expressing themselves. It's what they need to do in order to learn self-regulation. We want to hold space for them in that moment while showing empathy, understanding, but reinforcing those boundaries that were set in case the boundaries were the things that actually triggered their tantrum. But we must show up as the calm one, like I mentioned on the previous point. The calm voice, calm face, calm body. That's what Dr. Jenkins talks about in many of the videos that I follow. He's a clinical psychologist. He and his wife, they're amazing. It's somewhere on the screen here, so go check it out if you're interested. It's gonna be well worth your time. Never in the history of time has it been this easy for us to have access to resources and information on how to become a better parent. So you've got this. Remind yourself of that. You've got this. You have the power to break generational cycles and declare this unhealthy cycle that we've been living over and over again from generation, passing on from generation to generation, ends with me. You are in charge of your own decisions and how to have a positive impact in your child's life moving forward. All you need to do right now is take that first step. Your future adult kids will thank you for it. I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.